My name is Claudette Anderson, and I am an owner-broker of a company out of Raleigh, North Carolina called eRealty. And in a market where a lot of agents aren't not even staying in the business because they don't know how to generate the leads, I've actually hired 3 people just this week. My conversion ratio so far is at 68%. I've actually had 10 closings from the leads that I started generating in June. So I am thrilled with this. It's the best in the market, and I am a satisfied customer.
Hi, my name is Matt Jones, and I'm the President and CEO of FavoriteAgent.com. During the past 4 years, our industry has been going through a tremendous revolution, a major upheaval in the way business is done, in the way customers search for properties, and in the way we as real estate professionals attract and capture those customers. 4 years ago, the best available data suggested that the number of Internet shoppers was in the 30% range. A short year later, it was in the mid-50% range. Then a year later than that, it was in the high 70s. And recent information suggests that it's now over 90%. What an alarming race to the net. Those agents who don't learn how to attract business from the Internet are finding themselves working harder and harder for less and less business. As the president of an Internet technology company that helps agents with lead capture, and as a real estate professional and broker with a large real estate firm, I'm on the front lines of Internet lead capture. More importantly, I'm on the front lines of the transformation of those Internet customers into real business. When we solved the lead scarcity problem that was plaguing so many of our fellow agents, we soon discovered that there was an even more critical problem looming directly over the horizon. Now that we'd captured the Internet real estate customer, how are we going to bring that customer all the way to closing? Last year I wrote an article on this very subject, and since then we've received hundreds of letters from frustrated agents with questions about how to turn Internet customers into transaction dollars. Why can't I seem to engage this new online buyer? What am I doing wrong? You seem to be able to convert Internet buyers to business, but I find them nearly impossible to work with. All my online leads are either bogus or bad. My website customers aren't really serious buyers. What should I do differently? Is it possible to really have a steady flow of Internet business? It seems that most of the top agents have attempted to reach out to the Internet, many of them investing large amounts of money hoping to capture this new type of business. But there's a growing frustration in agents who've spent time and money, gone through training, and yet still, for the most part, been unable to do any real online business. Many are at the point of giving up on the online shopper. If you're one of those frustrated agents, though, don't throw in the towel just yet. I'm here to tell you that there's hope. I believe it's very likely that with a few small changes, you too can be doing a large Internet business. First, let's talk about the online home buyer and seller. I know it's tempting to dismiss website leads as being of poor quality because they're not now business, but current data suggests that Internet customers are actually better in virtually every measurable category by as much as 15%. They have higher incomes, they're better educated, they have a shorter search time, they view fewer homes, and they're more likely to use a real estate professional than their offline counterparts. Calling websites poor quality is the ultimate in sour grapes, and is little more than an excuse for avoiding the real problem, which is that these leads require us as agents to learn a new skill set in handling them. And we mostly don't want to do that. Here's what I mean. Most veteran agents have problems working web leads because they approach Internet customers as though they were typical customers coming from any other traditional marketing, like sign calls or referrals or calls from farming or duty desk calls. And that's why they have problems. Web leads are much different. Not different in the sense that they're not buying or selling homes, but different in the sense that they're coming at a much earlier point in the real estate buying cycle. And this difference is why our brand new agents are much more successful in working our internet customers than our seasoned veterans. The leads are different, and most veteran agents are reluctant to learn a new way of working customers. In order for you to understand what I mean, let me explain the real estate buying cycle in some detail. Understanding the buying cycle is the key to maximizing website business, and by the same token, misunderstanding the buying cycle is probably the most significant reason that many agents fail to generate any real business from the internet. Okay, let's pretend you're back in school. I want you to imagine a typical bell curve above a straight horizontal line or axis. Okay, that axis is a timeline, and it's running from about 12 to 13 weeks at the far left to 0 at the far right. Now, at the high point of that curve, there's a vertical line running straight down through the middle. This line is the 50% or center line, and it represents the mean or average time frame of a real estate customer. Now, this center line is 6 weeks prior to having an accepted contract. The point where you actually have an accepted contract is the vertical line 0, which is at the far right end of the axis. Now, imagine 2 more vertical lines about halfway from either end. These points represent 1 standard deviation from the mean, the center line, both to the right and to the left. The left line is at 16%, and the right line is at 84%. The 16% line is roughly 10 weeks, and the 84% line is approximately 2 weeks from an accepted contract. And it's at this point, 84% or 2-week line, where most real estate shoppers begin to look for an agent to help them gain access to homes. And when the customer moves from wanting to do it himself to wanting our help, normally around this 2-week point, he moves from phase 1 to phase 2 of the buying cycle. This is what makes internet leads tricky to work. The last 2 weeks, phase 2, or the search phase of the buying cycle, is where all of our traditional marketing once attracted and captured customers. And because they've crossed over to that psychological place where they want to work with an agent, they're more open to the direct, come on down to the office and I'll help you approach, the same approach that we've all used for years. But if we try to use that approach before they cross that psychological line, we'll inevitably alienate them and chase them away. Of course, most, 84% of all of our leads will be coming to us in phase 1, not phase 2. Statistically speaking, over 2/3 of all internet customers will be captured within the big part of the bell curve, the area between 16% on the left and 84% on the right. What that means is that a full 84% of all internet shoppers will be in phase 1 when they first make contact with an agent. Statistically, 50% of all internet leads will be 6 weeks or less from buying when they first enter our radar screen, and 99%, nearly all internet shoppers, will be within 22 weeks of writing an offer. That's great news. Now, I understand that many of those who sell leads want us to believe that internet leads are anywhere from 6 months to 2 years out when they start searching. But the actual data simply does not support that claim. The fact is that virtually all internet shoppers are less than 6 months from their purchase. So what should we do to capture this business? Well, as broker of a company that does over half of our business from the internet, I'd like to offer 3 simple tips that we've learned as we've grown. If you remember them and incorporate them into what you do, you'll begin to close business over the internet. Number 1, internet customers are good customers. When agents, often experienced agents, have trouble engaging internet customers, the temptation is to assume that there's something wrong with the online lead. However, in our company, we've learned that online leads are actually better leads. They're more loyal, they tend to have better credit, they buy more expensive houses, they're better educated, and they typically have a shorter search time. In fact, they're just like you and me. We don't like feeling pushed. When we shop, we don't want help until we've done our initial information gathering. We want help, but definitely not pressure. We know how it feels to be oversold in our culture. Okay, point number 2. Offer service and friendship to win the business. Our company has learned when we first call online leads, we're most effective when using a customer service approach. In other words, we don't try to personify the super agent real estate professional. We found that when we act like salesmen, we get a salesman's response. We're much more effective when we call from a customer service perspective. Here's an example of what I might say when calling a new online lead. Ms. Smith? Hi, this is Matt with FavoritAgent.com. I noticed that you visited our website while looking at houses online, and I'm just doing a customer service follow-up call to make sure that you were able to find everything you were looking for. Then I pause for a response, which is normally a little cool. I wanted to let you know that I'm not calling to try to sell you anything. And at that point, there's a noticeable breath of fresh air. Okay? Actually, I'm calling because many of our visitors have a hard time working the MLS search. So I wanted to make sure that you weren't having any trouble. Oh, by the way, you're going to love Fayetteville. We have a really great city. Lots to do, lots of shopping, great schools. What part of the country are you coming from? The purpose is to begin finding common ground and building a new friendship. As your lead warms up, you'll notice a change in receptivity. At no time do we try to set an appointment. We don't try to show houses or get a mortgage lined up or in any way make a traditional sales call. We're simply building a relationship on this call. That's our sole purpose. We allow the customer to set the pace, choose the topics, and so forth. When the conversation begins to run out of gas, we resume. Oh, I almost forgot. We just started offering this new service. We can take the basic features you're looking for and put them into our computer. Then whenever a house comes on the market that meets your criteria, we can send you the listing by email before most of the real estate professionals even know it's on the market. And this will give you a jump on the other people who are shopping right now, and it may help you find a deal before anyone else knows it's even out there. Now, the service is free, and I'll be happy to set it up for you. Just take a minute. The customer almost universally wants this service. The reason for offering listings by email is that they give you a good excuse to call back and strengthen the relationship. Okay, great. I'll check back with you in a few days to make sure you're getting the listings by email and to see if we need to change any of the search criteria. Okay, number 3. Staying in touch is crucial. Did you know that 76% of all buyers and 74% of all sellers work with the first real estate professional they talk to? Now, how cool is that? In other words, if you don't make the customer mad at you by being a pushy salesman, then you have 3-to-1 odds that you'll earn the business and a commission. But this is where most people drop the ball. Unlike the traditional leads that require under 2 weeks of follow-up, Internet leads involve a follow-up system that will carry them for as long as 10 weeks. At FavoritAgent.com, we try to touch Phase 1 customers twice a week and Phase 2 customers once a day. We try to mix it up between phone and email. We always start with the phone and then use email to solidify what we've built. During Phase 1, we want to be available without smothering, since the leads aren't yet ready to work with agents. And once a lead moves into Phase 2, though, we want to be there continually because we know he's beyond that scaring off stage and he's ready to work with an agent. We use a database to manage the follow-up so as not to drop the ball. We don't recommend using drip campaigns. Instead, we teach our agents to set themselves reminders to call and then to send out short emails that are personal. And by short, I mean under 50 words. We're trying to build relationships, not manage them. We all know when we're being managed with an impersonal drip campaign, and we feel a sense of betrayal when that happens. Instead of strengthening a relationship, the drip campaign actually erodes it. So when you send emails, send short, personal emails. Be friendly. Don't try to sell anybody. If you become your customer's friend, you'll get his business. It's really that simple. Now, before you give up on the internet as a source of business, let me offer you some hope. Over the last 4 years, our industry has moved from having very few internet customers to today's reality where the large majority of all real estate customers shop online first. If you commit to learning how to do internet business, you'll participate in one of the largest and most significant real estate booms in the history of our nation. You don't have to be a geek, I promise. You just have to be willing to serve your customers, asking nothing in return. When it comes to internet business, the golden rule prevails. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. If you simply befriend them and serve them, you'll have more business than you can imagine. Why don't you try this approach the next time you have an internet customer?